open up the world. Sorry, your batchmates are going to open up the world for you. You start appreciating different viewpoints, gain social and cultural awareness. When you graduate from CMU, you're truly going to be a global citizen with cross-cultural skill sets and, of course, lifelong friends. So Vibha Kagzi, who's a class of 2003 graduate, said, these connections you make have the potential of being your lifelong friends, future business partners, co-founders, investors, mentors, and so much more. And I'm sure if you ask us at the end in the Q&A, all of us will have stories that reinforce this point. Our tip number 2 comes from Yash, who says, interact with your professors. Although I studied civil engineering, I received critical advice from 2 professors who helped recognize what truly mattered most to me. I am now working in environmental sustainability, and their guidance still applies more than 5 years after graduating. So not only are our CMU professors charismatic and down to earth, they're really the best minds in your field. Why not get to know them better? They truly are interested in knowing more about you and interacting with you on a personal level. So please do introduce yourself to your professors. If you come across an article of their interest, send it to them. Engage them in conversation or debate. I know for some of you, this may not be a relationship style you've experienced in the past, but we promise you it will be one you'll never forget. For Yash, his professors were they were incredible mentors who helped him understand his strengths and preferences. So we'll also look forward to hearing your stories in the future about your interactions with professors. Let's move on to tip number 3, which Anshul gave us. She was a Master of Urban Design graduate, class of 2003. She recommends that we explore other academic interests. I went there to pursue a master's in urban design, but instead of just one, CMU opened many doors of opportunity for me. Despite being an urban design student in CFA, I took courses in TEPA, Heinz, and the College of Engineering. This gave me the opportunity to explore cross-disciplinary collaborations and make lifelong connections. You have the opportunity to choose electives not only from your department, but also other schools across the university. I know all of you are aware of the advantages of an interdisciplinary education. However, sometimes we just get caught up with our own course load and we find it difficult to explore new options. Start thinking about this now. Speak to seniors, speak to professors, and see what might be optimal synergies based on your areas of interest. We really urge you to not leave CMU without exploring a few courses outside of your main area of interest. Tip number 4 is participate in class. If I told you guys that I was never comfortable speaking in public until CMU, you may not believe me. Actually, you may. I guess I'll have to see how the rest of the presentation goes. But I grew up in Hong Kong. I did my undergrad degree in the UK. But it was at CMU where I felt comfortable speaking up and speaking out. For some of you, class participation may be mandatory, but even if it isn't, don't be apprehensive. Culturally, we tend not to volunteer or answer questions or seek clarification in class, but we urge you to work through this shyness and these apprehensions. Your classmates and professors will only encourage you. And this is the most supportive environment for you to start building on your communication skills. Tip number 5 is follow your curiosity. This next tip does come from someone on this, which I know is not a CMU alum, but I'm sure all of you know of him. We as a university and as students have numerous connects with Apple, so I think we can allow this one to come through. So I'm sure many of you have heard about the famous moment in Steve Jobs' commencement speech. Again, not at CMU, but we'll let that one slide, where he talked about how, out of curiosity, he took a calligraphy class, which 10 years later was an integral part of the Mac. So what we're trying to reinforce here is please don't close yourself to learnings that don't stem from curiosity. Don't look to immediately try and connect the dots, as you never know where your personal and your professional interests may collide. So please do follow your curiosity. Tip number 6 comes from Mansi, who did her MS in Sustainable Design. She's a class of 2006. She says that reach out to alums in your city and across the world. CMU alumni are very helpful and well connected. From everything from internships to job interviews, they can help you open doors. Stay engaged from the very beginning and nurture those relationships. I know this is something you must have all heard many a time, but it is truly important. I relocated to India over 10 years ago and reached out to fellow CMU alums for guidance and mentorship. Through the networking process, I found a CMU alum who was looking to start her own business and wanted a partner. She knew me at CMU. We stayed in touch after graduating, so we immediately agreed it was a right fit and launched the company. And this is really just one example. CMU provides an incredible platform for you to network, not only through your classmates, but also professors, other students on campus, and alumni. The strong connections made can open numerous hidden doors which wouldn't have been possible otherwise. As Mansi rightly says, it's important to meet new people, but please also cultivate that relationship after you leave CMU. Tip number 7 is build soft skills. While your technical skills may get your foot in the door of opportunities, it's really your people skills that are opening most of the doors to come. Your work ethic, your attitude, your communication skills, your emotional intelligence, and a whole host of other personal attributes are the skills that ensure your holistic development and growth. Your CMU experience is the ideal platform for you to develop your soft skills. For example, joining and taking leadership roles in clubs and organizations in conjunction with a diverse course load really forces you to manage your time, showcase leadership, guide your team, communicate effectively, and of course, smile throughout all of this. Tip number 8 is strengthen life skills. And this is given to us by Amit, who's an MS Healthcare Policy and Management 2004 graduate. He says that while we focus on core subjects, it's very useful to also look beyond these and pick up courses that can help develop real life skills. I took up a course on managing in a multicultural society, which fundamentally changed my perception of sensitivities, helping me over the years to understand divergent views better. Something that continues to help me in my role as a healthcare management consultant. CMU has an extensive, flexible curriculum. Do explore and make the most of it. If you need more structured guidance, there are courses on campus which allow you to gain more insight and perspective. For example, Tepper had a class on negotiation skills, which my husband and I took together many years ago and are still debating on who was the winner. Maybe that's not the right example, but let's just focus on at least what Amit said. So please do take advantage of these resources if you need them. So tip number 9 is trust yourself. Some of you, this is given to us by Ashay, who's also here in the panel, so definitely ask him questions at the end. His tip is trust yourself. Don't be afraid to put all your eggs in one basket. For example, during my MBA, I saw classmates apply to 50, 70 jobs and join all the clubs possible. I took another route for which I was called crazy. I only applied to 3 internships and only joined 3 clubs. Those are what I was truly passionate about, and it showed in the ultimate results. So, some of you have entered your graduate program after years of work experience, and some straight after your undergrad degree. Each of you have different goals, objectives, so trust yourself when making a decision. If you've tried and tested other avenues and are on a firm path like Ashay, stick to it. One size really doesn't fit all. If you want to know more about what else is out there like Anshul or are unsure, then follow your curiosity and explore your interests. And of course, if you need clarity or guidance, please reach out to your peers, to your professors, to your advisors. There are lots of people who can help you. Which really brings us to our last tip, that ask for help. Whether you're having housing issues, feeling under the weather, having difficulty understanding a concept, or even are homesick, there are people there to help you through this. Don't hesitate to reach out to your classmates, professors, even any of us, your alumni network. There are a wide array of also official resources available on campus if you need help, like the Career Services Department or the Office of International Education. So OIE is there for questions related to immigration regulations, visas, work permits, and so forth. So please don't hesitate to ask for help. So with that, I end my 10 tips, and I'm going to pass it on to Ronak, who's going to talk to you about our wonderful student and alumni panel. So Ronak, over to you.
Thank you, Grishma. Those were really helpful tips. Definitely something I wish I had before I went to CMU. I hope everyone else found it helpful as well. So as we move into this next section, it's basically a Q&A session. So this is completely for you guys. If you guys have any questions, just put them in the chat box down there. Everyone has access to the chat. Just put them down there, and then our panel will answer those questions. So before we get started with the Q&A, we're just going to do a quick round of introductions of the panel that we have here today. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Prahasha, feel free to go ahead and start, with a short introduction of yourself and maybe even why you chose CMU, your favorite things about CMU.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to meet you all. I'm a master's student in Energy Science, Technology and Policy program, and I'm also from India, from Telangana to be precise. I chose CMU because it had this very good interdisciplinary approach to all of the fields that they teach you about. And my concentration is engineering and public policy. I was an engineering grad in India, but then I felt there is something that's missing in my background, which is not letting me think outside the box, like the interaction of policy, economics, technology, and whatnot. And I felt like this program is like really interesting. I always wanted to do something related to economics, but this is also something which is at the intersection of engineering, economics, and policy, which also is now cultivating like an interest in me, like towards legal degrees. I'm so interested in it. And personally, I come from a place in India where coal mining is a predominant activity. My dad works in one of the coal industries. And this is like so close to my heart. And they work on clean energy, sustainability, climate science, which is affecting all of us, at least now. It's happening, right? Things that are happening around the world recently, a condo collapse in Florida, heat waves, blackouts. I get to study all of this. I'm not restricted to one particular subject, which is really a very good thing at CMU, and CMU is best at it, like in making you know about how systems and different parts or like different groups in a society interact with each other while also focusing on the importance of each and every field. So that's why I chose CMU. And it's been a rewarding experience so far. I'm very thankful to my professors, like Krishma was mentioning. They're really helpful and they guide you to something. Whenever you're in doubt, you can reach out to them. And one thing at CMU is always stay on track. Even if you're wrong, it's fine. You just think, don't stop thinking, don't stop being curious. And yeah, you snooze, you lose. You have to be a nerd when you're at CMU. I think, yeah, that's all. That's something that I can tell everybody. It will be a very enriching experience to the people who will be studying at CMU. You will never regret it. Thank you.
Hi. Sorry, I think we lost Ronak there. Did he?
That's fine. We can go ahead and have
Move on.
Sonika. Sonika,
Right.
introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Sonika. I am a TEPR MBA graduate from class of 2020. One of the reasons why I chose CMU was personally just the new building and the intersection that TEPR was focusing on of being in the center of business and technology. And that's where the overall world economy is headed. So it made a natural fit. Before my MBA, I was working in project management for about 5 years in engineering consulting, and my degree is in My undergrad degree is in environmental engineering. The one tip that I would have for all of you is it is okay to get overwhelmed. When you will reach the campus, you'll see the big building and you'll be like, wow, this is huge. You'll meet people from all over the world with different experiences. They probably would know a lot of things that you don't, and you'll feel a little inferior. And that is all okay because it's grad school. Everybody has their own journey. Things will work out for you in the end. So don't like overstress yourself or feel like this is the wrong decision. And the only difference that you will have between you and the class above you or below you is that they decided to pursue their masters a year before or after you. And that is all. There is nothing else that sets them apart from you. That's all that I have. Good luck.
Thanks, Sonika. Vivek, would you like to go ahead?
Vivek, yep.
Thanks. I wasn't able to unmute myself. Awesome. Great. First of all, very glad to be here. Thanks for the opportunity. Happy to be speaking to all of you. I'm Vivek Indrayan. I did a 1-year master's program in product management at CMU, and this was the first cohort of that program, interestingly. So, yeah, I have a lot of pleasant experiences and memories to share. But before that, just quick background on myself. I am originally from Bangalore. I have a background in computer science and software development, shockingly. And as part of that career trajectory, I was interested in getting into product management. And the reason I came to CMU was I was researching MBA programs at that time, which could lead to a lucrative opportunity in product management. And I stumbled upon this program, which actually said you'll be specialized in product management, and it suited all the other criteria that I had. I mean, the CMU brand was like a no-brainer, and that's what brought me here. And I really loved it. So in terms of my experience, I landed in Pittsburgh in January, unlike most other programs where you land in August. So you can imagine the change in climate that I had to acclimatize myself to. But apart from that, things were pretty good. I'd say once we were able to sort out all the basics, like housing, where you want to be, and just getting attuned to the campus, things fell in place very well. So, I mean, I can relate to almost every piece of advice or tip that we just saw in the slide deck. And one thing I'd say is whether you're here for 12 months or 36 months or 48 months, try and make as much of your time spent on the campus as you can, because there's so much happening all around, and you'll feel pulled in different directions, whether it's just coursework itself and courses that you love, whether it's clubs, how many ever you decide to join, or of course the constant pressure of trying to land the next internship or your full-time job and so on. Time is at a premium, but then again, don't stress out about that. Go with what you feel passionate about at that time. You can't do everything, but maximize on who you want to interact with, what you want to build on, and the results will show at some point of time in the future. So yeah, have very, very fond memories of CMU. I'll look forward to sharing more tips if during the Q&A today, and if you choose to connect with me offline. Thanks.
Thank you, Vivek. Priyank, would you like to go ahead?
Thanks, Ronak. Hey, everyone. Glad to be here. My name is Priyank, and I'm a 4th-year doctoral student in the Department of Engineering and Public Policy here. Most of my work focuses on air pollution and climate change in India. And as you must have been noticing, we are getting crazy heat waves along with, flooding in parts of Uttarakhand. So I came to CMU actually from a master's degree from Columbia. And I had already gotten a job in investment banking. And my professors there said, if you really want to, by that time I'd taken a bunch of courses and gotten interested in the climate change space, and said, if you really want to, pursue further studies in this, and I think you'll be good at it, you should go to this small school in the middle of Pennsylvania. It's called Carnegie Mellon. And by that time I was like, not very informed about schools. I'd heard about the big school names, MIT, Stanford, Harvard, but I'm glad I took his advice and didn't go for the job and came here. And it's been a ball over the last 4 years. At least in terms of my learning goals, I've been very satisfied and have made amazing friends and connections in professors and the kind of work I do. So I think one advice I would have for you is that you have to define what CMU is for you. Whether it's a means to get a job, whether it's a means to being a vehicle for learning, which you probably weren't able to do in India during your undergrad, or for whatever other reasons you would just want to experience a new country through grad school. So having said that, I think once we come here, we just get too busy with a lot of things, coursework, jobs, internships, everything. But I would also recommend first taking it slow, seeing what works for you in terms of timing and schedule. You don't have to just go all out. You should remember this is a marathon. Grad school degrees are typically from a year to 2 years. So you want to have a good schedule, sleep well, eat well. You'll be away from your parents and family members. So I think once that's there and you've made friends here, I think you'll have a really good time at Carnegie Mellon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Priyank. And I think our last panel member is Ashay.
Thanks, Ronak, and thanks, Krishma. Hi, everyone. My name is Ashay Doshi. I'm a 2019 MBA grad. So just a year above Sonika, and Vivek and I had a lot of extracurriculars together as well. So great memories. My background is that I actually grew up in India, but I went for my undergrad to the US as well. I'd worked at Deloitte Consulting for 4 years before I went for my MBA at CMU. While I was at CMU, I interned at Wayfair, which is an e-commerce, publicly listed e-commerce company. Then I went on the entrepreneurship route and started a company of school, went to Silicon Valley, took advantage of the entrepreneurship accelerator that CMU provides. We were able to get seed funding. During COVID, the startup took a bit of a hit. And now I've moved back to India to run an agriculture startup. So variety of experiences that leads me to my advice or some tips that I would share is that while you're at CMU, take advantage of the extracurriculars and in particular, the leadership opportunities at the extracurriculars. Because one thing that the US is amazing at is selling and marketing. And once you get into those extracurriculars outside of class, when you have to sell memberships for your club, when you have to get people to attend your events, when you have to market them, you will learn the art of sales that is sometimes missing in India just because of the curriculum. And that will help you go much further in your soft skills and in your job performances than most of your hard skills. Because your hard skills you can learn by yourself on YouTube and everywhere. The soft skills you learn through personal interaction. The second thing I would say is live as close to campus as possible. Live in Shady Side. I think someone else posted a question, what is a great place for happy hours and everything? Shady Side is very nice, good food. Mario's has good offers on drinks as well. And you can walk to campus. So that's the main thing, because you will be very busy throughout the day and night. You will be needing to be on campus. So you better be able to walk there. That's my opinion. And lastly, which is a tactical thing, is negotiate your housing leases. Most of y'all are doing 16-month programs, 18-month programs, 20-month programs. Most of these guys will try to rip you off and make you sign a 24-month lease. So make sure that once you renew your lease after your first year, renew it for the time that you're only going to be there. I learned the hard way. I lost around $4,000 in extra rent, but hope that you won't do the same. And yeah, that's me. I'll answer questions in Q&A when it's open.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Asha. I think we covered all panel members. So now we can move on to the Q&A part of this. Panel members, feel free, to just jump in to answer a question. It's up to you guys. And we'll try and stick to maybe one or two panel members answering one question so that we can hit a larger number of questions. So I think the first question is quite relevant to everyone. I'm going to be unmuting the participants. So if you have put a question in and I call out your name, feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question yourself. So the first question is from Hitarth Shah. So Hitarth, if you're here, please go ahead and unmute yourself and you can ask the question yourself.
Yeah, hi Ronak. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So my question was that what do you do once you reach Pittsburgh? Like from reaching the Pittsburgh airport, what do you do? How do you set up your house and how do you set up all the basic necessities in Pittsburgh since it's going to be a new city for us? Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Hitarth.
I think I can take this.
Go ahead.
Yeah, once you reach Pittsburgh, just contact any of your friends if you have. Otherwise, there is IGSA, the Indian Graduate Students Associations. We're always here to help. But then make sure it's better to have a house. It's better to find a house before you even reach, so you don't have to worry in the last minute. And yeah, you just move in, and as soon as you get here, now it's COVID, you have to do some procedures with the university and submit some forms, so your arrival is recorded in the university. The team here can help you. All you have to do is mail the hub team at CMU if you already know what the hub is, and they're always there to help. And if you don't get any responses, try to reach out to your friends and just don't wait, don't hesitate. Ask your questions, reach out to as many people as possible. We are here to help. If we have any resource that we can deploy, yeah, you are safe. Don't worry. CMU is full of Indians. Pittsburgh is a very friendly city. You see people smiling, saying hello when you walk on the street. It's a really nice place to live in. Don't be in a panic. If you have any questions, number one, don't wait, reach out. That's what I can say.
I think also to add to Praharsha's point, you could, when you come here, definitely have international roaming activated on your India number so that at least you can order an Uber if you are not able to figure out the bus system in the first go. That's helpful. Yeah.
If I may, well, what happened in my case was because I came in January, there were a lot of folks who were not in town, and I was able to sublet an apartment for just about 10 days because the guy, I think he was a PhD student, and he was going to come back after some time. That helped me both get used to Pittsburgh, get used to the city, get myself set up on campus, and also use that time to actually find a apartment for the longer term. So if you can work out something like that with your friends, or whoever else in Pittsburgh, that might also be a good landing pad of sorts.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Hitarth, hopefully that answers your question. The next question is from Raghav Singhal. So Raghav, feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question. Raghav Singhal, are you still here? Okay, not a problem.
Read the question.
Yeah, I'll read out the question. So his question is: are there any tips to make the most of the CMU experience, especially for those that have short 16-month courses?
Could you please repeat that question?
Sure. So Raghav is basically asking how you can make the most of CMU, especially if you have a short course.
Okay, so it depends on the college that you're in. There's usually a limit on the number of courses that you can take outside your college, and you can take anything if you're falling under that limit. Like, for example, I can take 18 units outside the College of Engineering. So I can go to Tepper, I can go to School of Computer Science or Heinz or any school within Carnegie Mellon, as long as you justify why you need that course. So there is a system. So let's say I'm an energy student. If I have to go to Tepper to take a course called Energy Finance, I have to tell my department how it helps me. with my career, or why is it even necessary for me? As long as I justify, they're like cool with it, they'll let you take it. And try to diversify your set of courses or kind of subjects that you're enrolled in. It will really help you in terms of thinking or approaching the problems, application of concepts. I think every department or every college inside CMU has that restricted number of units that you can go for outside your college. Just talk to your department and try to make the most of it. Definitely take something from Tepper and computer science. That's what I suggest. If you're interested in policy, there is Heinz School. And if there is also arts, philosophy, there are like a wide variety. There's nothing that's not at CMU. There's basically everything. As long as you are interested and you can justify your argument, you're good.
Awesome, thank you. Does anyone else want to add anything? Okay, so we can move on to the next question. The next question is from Tanay and Devashri. So if you guys want to unmute yourselves, you can go ahead and ask the question. No worries, I can ask the question myself. So their question is, what are the typical college hours? Also curious to know, how are exams and assignments at CMU different from those in India?
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
I think I can start that, and Praharsh can add. But the typical college hours are dependent on what courses you take. I've had courses where I've had to go in for a TA session on a Sunday, and like the assignment is due at Sunday night. So it's actually a function of what courses you take, but mostly I think you'll be definitely putting in 8 to 10 hours a day. Sometimes just courses plus assignments, and sometimes even more. And so it's hard. Like I would put it out bluntly, saying that if you've been working for a few years and you come here, and so it'll definitely take at least a month to adjust to the pace of school, and to sort of just pick up on skills which might have gotten rusty over the years. So
yeah, adding to that, I had a class that started at 6:30 p.m. last semester. It went until like 10:30 p.m. I reached home. Just you have to mentally train yourself. You're not coming here all the way from India for nothing. Just work hard. It will be tough. I won't lie about it. At least the first 2 months are going to be tough. But then if you have a proper calendar and stay on track, it shouldn't be very tough. All you have to do is work hard, but also have fun. Don't take too much stress. It's all about learning. And yeah, again, assignments, stay on time. Do not do late submissions. And if you have really something going on, just inform your professors. They're very considerate. They're very kind at CMU. And just let them know. Don't hesitate. It's not like, in India, we do not have too much interaction with our professors in India in undergrad, but then it's not like that here. You can talk about anything. If you have any personal issues, especially now it's COVID, it's very stressful. You can reach out to them. And that's all. You don't have to stress too much. And grades are important, especially if you're just out of undergrad. People who have work experience can go a little easy, not very easy, but then focus on learning. Grades are really important if you're just out of undergrad and come to CMU without any experience, because by that time you don't have any work experience to show on your profile. You have to be very competitive and do well in your courses to get into a good company after you graduate out of CMU if you're a fresher. Otherwise, you're pretty cool. I mean, everything is cool here. Don't worry.
I think thanks, Praj. I think I'll add something quick to it from an MBA perspective. I think there's a difference where it comes to grades versus not. I think in general, the focus should be around learning, and that should not be defined by you getting a 4.0 GPA or a 3.6. Honestly, anything about 3.5 and you're fine, right? So you got to balance that element of, okay, like, do I want to get a 3.6 and be able to do extracurriculars that I can add and be a leader, or I want to do a 4.0 and do nothing? I would choose a 3.6 or 3.7 and do something else as well, because that's what's honestly going to help you more down the line. And yeah, I think as Indians in general, it's ingrained into us that you need to get like full marks on this, full marks on that. Like, focus on learning and getting the basic concepts, because everything else you teach yourself outside. So that's,
Yeah, I mean, 3.5 is enough. Don't work too much. Don't take it hard on yourselves. Take it easy. Just learn.
Thank you guys so much. So this question is a popular one. It's kind of two parts. So it's, how do you deal with the cold at CMU? So how do you prepare for the winters? And also, what are the best food options available? Are there Indian food options available? How do you manage that?
I can take this one, especially the cold part. Layer up a lot, like especially even the 5 minutes from the bus stop or from your home to the campus, that's enough to like make you feel super cold. I think you will all have lockers. So layer up, don't wear like thick sweaters that is like, and that's the only thing you're wearing. Just have multiple layers so that once you're inside the building, you can take them off. Have gloves ready, have a beanie, anything like have, I guess my advice would be try to like before Thanksgiving hits or during Thanksgiving, go to the outlet malls and just get every possible thing, like get a nice winter coat, get some boots for the snow, get like enough layers from Costco. I think they have those inner warm layers or some like layering clothes. Have scarves, but then because the difference between the outside and inside, like you don't even feel like you can be in a short sleeve t-shirt inside and it's fine because it's all centrally heated. So you don't want to miss out and keep everything next to your door, because this has happened to me, and especially because in India our houses are colder than it is outside because of the non-central heated. This is, I once, like, I used to walk to school in my second year and I forgot my gloves, and I was like freezing. It was snowing. I didn't know what to do. And I had to just like walk with my hands inside my jacket, and that wasn't enough. So make sure you keep everything like your gloves, your scarf, and everything close to the door so that you'd never forget them. Um, Food options, there's a lot of, I can speak more from an MBA perspective. There's a lot of free food on campus. Like you don't have to worry about packing your lunch every day. There would always be some event or the other that would be catering. But other than that, there are a lot of good Indian restaurants. There's Tamarind. There's I can't. There's this India Spice House or something that's next to across from Tamarind. I can't get the name. They all have buffets as well. So there is a lot of Indian food options around campus. And if you want to like venture out, there's Taj Mahal that's like 20-25 minutes out if you want to go like one weekend. Apart from Indian food options, there's Chula, which I really miss. It's probably only in Pittsburgh in Ohio. It's kind of like an Indian fast food. So that's really, really nice. And then there's obviously Chipotle, which is Mexican. There are a lot of food options in and around campus, so you'll never basically feel hungry. If anything, try and hit the gym more.
Yeah, and adding to that, there is an Indian grocery store, and also whoever is like arriving for fall, just carry basic medicines like paracetamol, cold, and cough-related medicines that would last for a month, just in case of emergency. Otherwise, your health center is also here to take care of you. Don't worry.
And invest in good shoes. So I think I've seen a lot of people wear the best like jackets and everything, but slip when it comes to black ice and everything on the road. So just spend that $80, $90, $100, whatever it is, and get those shoes that grip in the cold, because otherwise I've seen people slip and hit their head as well. Yeah, so that would be I'd add that.
Thanks for that. There were a bunch of questions about vegetarian food as well. So me being a vegetarian, I can just comment on that a little bit. There's no problem with vegetarian food. There's always options. Like the panel was talking, there are Indian restaurants that obviously have vegetarian food. There's a vegan restaurant on campus as well, which is in the university center. And veganism is obviously picking up. So there's more vegan restaurants in Pittsburgh now, but everyone understands what vegetarian food means in Pittsburgh. So you won't face any problems with that. Awesome. So hope that was helpful. So the next question, just sorry, one quick thing to add over there. Yes, there are meal packages available. So once you get to campus, just talk to a bunch of Indians over there. There is a tiffin service. I have a number, but I'm not sure if it's valid right now. But there is a tiffin service, which your current students over there will probably be aware of. So you guys can go there and find out more about it. Awesome. So let's move on to the next question. Just give me a second. Okay. So there's a question around career prospects, especially during COVID and post-COVID. So how do you go about networking and finding jobs when you're at CMU, both while you're on campus and for post-graduation jobs?
Can I take this one? Priyank, you want to go ahead?
No, I'm just in the job hunting season right now. So I thought I had something to share on that front. But yeah.
Go ahead.
So I think for me, like what's worked is it's slightly different than India, where a lot of us are used to, companies coming to campus. There's a placement day 0, day 1, day 2, and you get placed. Here you have to sort of make that effort on your end, have a great LinkedIn profile and then try to reach out to recruiters in the target companies and areas you're located in. So for instance, if somebody wants to work in software engineering in San Francisco, you might want to reach out to the local recruiter of the company there or the team you're interested in. And I think it's more of a vetting process initially, where people don't necessarily say, hey, I want a job. They say like, I'm interested in the kind of things you do. Can we have a quick conversation or something? And then that's how you get the ball rolling. And then if they like you, or they'll tell you like, we are having this application which is open, you might want to apply for it. And so that's how you sort of at least that's what's worked for me. And I know there are many other strategies out there. Definitely use we have a career resources center on CMU, which are very helpful in terms of looking at your resume and your cover letter, tightening the grammar and the language on that, because I think could definitely help in terms of, making you stand out as a candidate. We have career fairs on campus, which, I think one comes in fall, probably September, where, companies usually come to hire for internships. So definitely, try to go for these opportunities. And even at the respective departments, you are in, you would have sometimes info sessions coming in, from companies. I think this has been mentioned a lot, but definitely tap into your alumni networks from your program or generally from CMU who are working in the target companies or places you want to work at. So yeah.
Thank you, Priyank. So I think this next question follows nicely. This is from Ritika, and she asks, how can you build and nurture relationships with alums? Do you guys have any tips for that?
I can quickly take that. So when I was at my MBA, I was a president of SABA, South Asian Business Association. And I also was pretty intertwined with some professors. And to Yash's advice on the slide about engaging with professors and taking on leadership roles, that honestly gives you a leg up in even reaching out to alums or even reaching out to non-alums. Because you can say that, hey, I am leading this club, or I'm doing this, and reach out to alums, which is going to get you more of a response than just like a cold email. You can also use your professors to make that introduction, because everyone knows your professor. So I've had professors make introductions for me as well. So which was, really helpful. And third thing is, don't be afraid to use your CMU credentials. Like I have written cold emails and cold messages saying, I'm a Carnegie Mellon MBA. I can help you with this. Can we set up 15, 20 minutes to connect? And that will take you a step further as opposed to just asking someone for your time. You can provide them something of value up front when you send a cold message. So yeah, that's my.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashay, for that. So the next questions are from Karan and Alicia. So I'm combining these two questions. Both their questions are around how do you balance your course load, plus either doing a part-time job when you're on campus, and then searching for a full-time job when it's time for graduation.
For international students, you have to be 3 months ahead, if not 3, 4, or 5 months ahead in searching for a job, because you have to do like OPT and all the procedure involved there. It's not tough, but always, have an eye for on the job market. And the thing is finding the right fit that aligns with your coursework and your career goals. You don't want to regret choosing an opportunity that you won't be like happy to work with, like the team or the work. You have to enjoy it. It's not impossible. Like I had to apply for an internship, like almost 100 applications, and they responded at the very last minute. You will be stressful, but just have faith. Just be confident, do it well, and have a good profile while you're in your semester. Do the projects with interest, learn from it. It's all about how you portray yourself and your interest in doing it. Yeah, that will help. But don't be very pessimist too. There is always just keep going. Do not give up.
For
Thank you.
for those of you like who may be doing undergrad, you have 3 to 4 years on campus, and that would afford you the opportunity to do multiple internships. So again, try and get as many varied experiences as you can, depending on the area that you're interested in, and just gives you a better exposure. Can't say the same for MBA or grad school programs because you get just 1 year of one chance at internship. But even there, in my opinion, uh, don't look at the internship as just a vehicle to land a job. Look at that as a learning experience, practical learning experience with a company where you're getting paid and getting to actually try out something you may never have tried out, or a field that really interests you in, and it's a safe place. If you didn't like it or if it didn't work out, you can always come back and apply for other full-time opportunities where you think you stand a better chance. So just don't be afraid.
Thanks, Vivek. So the next question is actually around health insurance, which I think Vivek and Priyank answered very helpfully on the chat. So in case you didn't read the chat, the question was, should we get CMU health insurance or should we explore other insurance options? And the answer to that is stick to CMU health insurance. There's zero copay if you ever fall sick. And also you don't need to carry prescriptions from India. Most of the regular medicine is available off the shelf at any pharmacy in Pittsburgh. So CMU health insurance is a safe choice for all students. If you do have any further questions about that, feel free to put in the chat, and maybe if we have time, we can get to it later. The next question was actually asked by two folks. I'm missing the names right now, but it is essentially, is there anything you regret not doing at CMU? Anything that you missed out on that you would like to go back and do?
I wish I had more time at CMU. Sometimes I feel the flip side of a 12 months program was I just didn't see enough or learn enough.
We all do. I spent 4 years there and it was still not enough time.
Yeah. So pretty open-ended question, and yeah, I mean, I always wish. I mean, you'll always wish you had more time to do more things, whatever they are. So yeah, I guess the regret would be, I wish I could have attended this extra talk one day instead of like maybe hanging out with friends. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't hang out with friends. Again, like there's FOMO whichever way you decide to go. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for that. The next question is from Sanjana, and she's asking what, if any, scholarship options are available for Indian students coming to CMU?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a research-based master's, then there are options available for for you to conduct some research for a professor, and then they pay you a stipend, and sometimes it might offset part of your tuition money. If it's a professional master's, I think it's unlikely that there are funding opportunities within the school, but you could apply for external scholarships outside of school. So for example, for MBA students, there's a scholarship called CBIL Scholars. So, and a bunch of other scholarships like that. Yeah.
One thing I'd add to that is, so the MBA program actually does offer scholarships for international students as well. Basically, what they do is just deduct your tuition bill. One that combines my regret. I did not negotiate my scholarship. So I didn't know that was a thing till I spoke to a few of my classmates who had actually negotiated their scholarship. So they got an offer of X. They had another admit, or they thought they deserved more. So they wrote to the admissions saying, I think I deserve $80,000 instead of $50,000, and they got it. So don't be afraid to ask. And if you have already a scholarship, don't be afraid to negotiate. I didn't know that was an option. I should have. So, keep that in mind.
Thank you, guys. So I think we have time for maybe 2 more questions. This question has been asked twice, so I'm going to go with this. Any tips on finding decent furniture, and any tips on on how to set up a house at a reasonable price in Pittsburgh?
I can take this one. Facebook Marketplace is a great avenue to find, because as graduates are leaving, they're putting the stuff that they had up for sale. So you should join. I think there are like 3 or 4 groups, CMU, housing and sublets. People put in their furniture there. And the second one would be IKEA. I think, again, a bunch of friends should go together to IKEA and pick everything, and probably it's a pain to set up, but it's totally worth it. You don't want to really overspend on furniture. So Facebook Marketplace and IKEA were the 2 things I used to set up my place.
Or look for a place where a couple of people are already set up, so they may have some furniture, and if they're going to graduate in some time and you don't mind carrying over with that furniture, that's another easy path out.
Craigslist is also useful, but yeah, Facebook Marketplace is definitely something useful, even to sell your furniture once you're done using it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Priyank, you want to just add something?
No, I just wanted to add, a lot of students are graduating or moving out. Like for my like in my case, I'm also graduating, end of August. So if you guys are looking for like furniture or, housing options, I stay in Squirrel Hill, and you can, get in touch with me offline.
Awesome. So the next question is from Aditya, and his question is, are there any quarantine requirements when we arrive in Pittsburgh?
I'm not super updated on that, but I know that the university came out with this whole very elaborate, email communication. So you might want to sort of just log into the CMU website or email, student affairs at CMU to see what's the latest on that is.
Yeah, if masters and PhD students also have an F1 visa, I know that for an F1 visa, you don't need any quarantine, and you can fly directly to the US without stopping in any other country, and you don't need to quarantine once you're there. So maybe it's similar for masters and PhD as well. All right. The next question is from Yash, and his question is, do we need to buy a car in Pittsburgh, especially as a PhD student?
I'm tempted to say no. I love driving myself. I missed having a car, honestly. But yeah, if you stay in Shadyside or Squirrel Hill, bus system is great. I don't know what I don't know if the PhD student angle makes a difference. Maybe you're thinking you need to go in at odd hours and so on. Yeah, so I guess if you're going to be around with friends, and if someone has transport, or you could jointly take an Uber. That might still be worth it if that's a one-off situation.
Yeah, if it's very urgent, you can also rent a car, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Zipcar on campus. So get that membership. I think it's worth 15 or 20 bucks as a student per year. That's all. And that allows you to rent a car which is parked on campus by just swiping a card.
I think everyone should get there, when you get there, settle in, get your driver's license as well. Because even if you don't have a car, it is important to know how to drive in the US, especially if your internship or if you need to go to New York or Chicago or wherever you need to drive for an interview or you don't want to fly. It's a 5-hour drive, you can definitely drive it. So definitely get your driver's license, US driver's license when you.
Yeah. You're not, at least in TSA, you can show that as your ID. You don't have to carry your passport all the time. So another reason.
Thank you, guys. I actually did the math on this when I was there, and it's cheaper to Uber everywhere than like rent or buy a car and pay for maintenance and tax and all of those things. But obviously, we don't always Uber everywhere, so the combination of buses and Ubers should be enough. Awesome, guys. I think we're out of time. If you guys do have more questions, Grishma, Asha, any suggestions on what we can do to answer those? Or
I think it depends on the panelists. If I can personally stay for 10 minutes more, depending on how many questions are there. But up to, I know it's the morning in the US, it's evening in India.
are you guys good to stay maybe till 8:10? For 10 more minutes? I know, I'm sorry, I'm saying it in IST.
I'm fine. I can stay.
Okay, great. All right, let's look for another question. So this one is from Akshaj, and his question is, how do you engage with the Pittsburgh or CMU entrepreneurship community, and how can we make the most of it?
So I can take that because I was on the entrepreneurship track during my MBA. And so I was fully committed to it. One first thing you do is, even if you're not part of the MBA program, the entrepreneurship track is open to all disciplines. So I took classes on the entrepreneurship track with people from HCI, engineering, computer science, etc. So definitely take those classes. Second is utilize the SWOT Center. They are extremely open and you can walk in, talk to the mentors there. You can take a class and talk to the professors. Dave Mohini leads this SWOT Center and he's phenomenal. Craig Markovitz, all the professors are great. So yeah, take a class in entrepreneurship, get on the entrepreneurship track, visit the SWOT Center, and they will put you in touch. They have a ton of events, and SWOT Center is the only program, one of the only programs that's cross-functional across campus. So they have all the classes are open to all majors. Everyone's welcome there, and yeah, you just have to visit them or take a class, and then you'll be directly involved. And they have a structured entrepreneurship program, right from idea inception to execution funding. And the CMU also has its own accelerator called Venture Bridge that is based in San Francisco and Pittsburgh. You can take part of that, be part of that if you start a startup while you're at CMU, and you get to spend one whole mini of quarter in Silicon Valley as well if you're on the entrepreneurship track, if you choose to. So yeah, a lot of options.
Thanks, Akshay. So the next question is from Abuzar, and his question is, what is the coolest thing you found at CMU? It could be a place, gadget, tradition, anything.
Go visit the robotics lab. They have all the funky things in there, machines that are not even thought about. And then when you're an MBA, you're mostly just networking, but this is cool to, yeah, visit the robotics department. They have some very, very cool prototypes. One thing I found cool was during my SWOT Center accelerator, my co-founder, one of my other founder friends had invented a robotic shoe. So instead of walking, you would skate and walk across campus and on the sidewalks and everything. It's in prototype stage. I think he's already commercialized it. So yeah, just being open to all the different majors around you, you'll find a lot of cool things.
Awesome. So the next question is from Naman, and just give me a second. I lost it. Yeah. So how much do employers in India value CMU graduate students? Do we get the upper hand as compared to other grad students?
Grishma, Rekha, any thoughts on that?
I think for me, when I came back here, I wanted to start something on my own. So I never really did a job hunt as such. But I know that whomever I reached out to who were CMU alums were all very helpful in terms of providing me with advice, or, another person who I can connect to, or how I could go about my, the next step. So I personally cannot speak about in terms of, getting a job, but I know that at least reaching out to alums who are maybe already at corporates at companies in India, that would definitely be the first step I would take when you're looking at an option when you come back home.
Yeah, I can add. Yeah, I could just add to it. I think reaching out to alums is a great idea. And I think even, and people are very helpful, but besides that, I think if you go into any professional setup, right, the CMU brand will definitely hold value. And I think over the years, right, the CMU brand name in India has definitely gone up. I think earlier people were only kind of probably more aware of some of the other, bigger schools and some of the Ivy Leagues, but I think CMU as a brand has, it has improved. CMU is always great, but the brand value in India has improved a lot over. So I don't think you should worry about that. And ultimately, some of these things are just to get a foot in the door. It's about you and showing that commitment. And one of the things I do feel about, and this is true across schools, it's not necessarily restricted to CMU, is that I think one thing that a lot of employers in India are very cautious about is that people who come in with the overseas degree should not come in with a kind of chip on their shoulder and expect too much of special treatment. So they should be willing to kind of really put their head down and work hard and kind of deal with the system the way it is. Because that's why you hear of a lot of employers who want to then prefer to hire somebody from an IIM, right? Because they feel they're easier to deal with. So I think that's something that you should be more cautious about, which is your attitude. And otherwise, I think the CMU brand is great. I don't think you will have any problem.
I think it's important to connect with your local alumni group. I know for MBA, depending on which city you are, there'll be an online list of all alums in your city, or at least the leader of your alumni group in your city. Like Mumbai, I think there's around 150 alums. So when I moved back in October 2019, it was because of Rekha, Grishma, and everyone that my transition was much easier. So definitely the network is strong, and it's everyone's in very higher positions in India too. So
awesome. Thank you, guys. So the next question is from Tejas, and they're asking, what things should I not get from India? I could take that. You'll get most essentials in the US itself. I think it makes more sense to do that. So don't carry too much from India apart from clothes. You're probably going to buy your winter stuff in the US itself. Like the panel was mentioning earlier, there's an Indian grocery store as well. So you'll get most of your spices and mixes and things over there if you ever want to cook. You also get some ready-made packets of food as well, so different vegetables that you can eat. I personally used to just carry theplas because that was easy to deep freeze, and then you can keep them for like a few months, right? I'm also Gujarati, so I'm a little biased there, but most of my friends did get theplas as well. Apart from that, there's really not much that you need to carry from India. If there are some specific medications that are not available in the US, those are what are advised to carry from here, or if there are things that you need, at a moment's notice. Apart from that, I think you can just buy everything from there. I think the weight to cost ratio is poor, so it's better to just buy things in the US.
I think to add to that, Rod, just bring some antibiotics because, in India, antibiotic you can get over the counter. There you have to wait for a prescription, even if you have health insurance from a doctor. So azithromycin, the basic antibiotics, bring them so that you speed, if you have anything, you can have your medicine, that speed versus waiting for a prescription. Eye drops as well. You need prescription for an eye drops as well there. So I would carry a few at least.
Perfect. Awesome. So the next question is two parts. So the first part is from Pratyaksha and the second is from Prasoon. I think this will be the last question of the day. So they are asking, is there a way to get a recording of the session if people have joined late? And two, not everyone, some of the people got deferred in their admission from last year and so did not get an invite for today's session. So what is the best way to get added to the list and receive future invites like this? So maybe that's more pertaining to Ashay, Grishma, Rekha.
So the recording will be available on our YouTube channel and we can upload it and we'll send out a link to all the participants.
Okay, and what's the best way to get added to the mailing list for these kind of events?
We'll reach out to Roy, let him know that this happened, and then I think he will do the needful. So we'll definitely let Roy know that this happened, so he will be able to put the right people on the right list.
All right, awesome.
We'll make sure this doesn't happen.
Cool. I think that's time for us. Thank you guys so much for attending this event. We really hope it was helpful. Thank you so much to the panel for sticking around and answering these questions. Really hope it was helpful. I think you can reach out to any of us if you guys have more questions. You must have got you must have got an email from Roy. Maybe he can help you connect with us if you guys do have more questions. But yeah, thank you for joining. I'm going to pass it over to Rekha for closing remarks. Appreciate everyone being here.
Thanks, Ronak. Thank you. A very big thank you to our panelists for spending so much time, taking out so much time. I know it's a weekday morning for all of you, so I really appreciate the time that you've spent, and I'm sure it was very helpful for everyone. I mean, I often wish I had this kind of a session when I went to CMU. I would have done a few things differently. And a big thanks to Grishma, Ashay, and Ronak also for organizing and setting this up. And all the best to all of you. We are around. Please feel free to reach out, via email. If you need to connect with any of us, if you don't have our email IDs, you can write to Roy and he'll connect you. Yeah, all the best. And I think we can sign off now.
Thank you. Thanks, Vivek, Sonika, Prarsha, Priyank.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.